Squad hired a coach yesterday, Jesse Minter, a former assistant coach for the Ravens, most recently defensive coordinator for the LA Chargers. He's not old. He's 42 years old. He's the son of the longtime football coach Rick Minter, probably most known for his time as a head coach at Cincinnati, the University of, was with the Ravens from 2017 to 2020, then left John Harbaugh to go with Jim Harbaugh, was at Michigan and with the Chargers. And to me, what this feels like is them saying, the Ravens saying, remember we had Mike Macdonald and we let him walk? Who's the closest thing to him? It's this guy. I think in their minds they hired Mike Macdonald, but his name is Jesse Minter.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of that in there. Listen, Jesse Minter can do the job. Last 2 years with the Chargers, it's been a top 10 scoring defense. They finished top 5 in total defense this year, despite having injuries on that side of the ball. So there's no question what his football acumen is. This is a guy that is a master when it comes to the X's and O's. And if you listen to what Kyle Van Noy said on the Pat McAfee show yesterday, and that's Ravens linebacker, he said that players today aren't looking for leaders of men type coaches. What they're looking for are tacticians, guys that are great with the X's and O's, that can tell them what they need to do, put them in positions where they can have success, and that can lend itself to the team being able to put itself in position to win football games. So if you think about the guys on the defensive side of the ball, Kyle Hamilton, Van Noy, Matabike, all those dudes, they're fired up about this particular hire. What I love about it is that it's been reported that Jesse Minter has a good working relationship with Lamar Jackson. Remember, he was there when Lamar Jackson was running the scout team at the beginning of the 2018 season. And for those two to work together, a defensive staffer and a scout team quarterback, in terms of being able to set up the looks that the defense needs to go against, for them to be able to have that connective tissue is a positive sign, because this hire is as much about energizing Lamar Jackson as it is about getting the defensive side of the ball right for the Baltimore Ravens, and that's why I love it.
And you always say, what's a quarterback's best friend?
A defense that creates extra possessions and field position.
And they certainly think Jesse Minter can come in and implement that in Baltimore.
No doubt.
I love this hire for Baltimore. We figured it would be Jesse Minter from the outset. He seemed like the favorite once John Harbaugh was relieved of his duties. And I like this because, to your point, it's a new, fresh voice. It's a younger voice coming in that will hopefully energize the group, but it also doesn't deviate too far away from what we know Baltimore Ravens football to be, because of who he is, because of the relationships he has with the Harbaugh family and with the Ravens in general. So I think it satisfies a lot of different things. In reading about him, he's been described as a literal genius. So if they're looking for tactical help, it seems like Jesse Minter is the right way to go. And even though this felt like an inevitability, once we heard that the opening was there and that Jesse Minter was probably the person, I thought it was the right move for Baltimore.
Yeah, I'm thinking about what you said before we get to the offensive side of it with Lamar and who's going to coach him and that opening, which is obviously a big one. I'm thinking about what you said that Kyle Van Noy said about players are looking for a tactician, not a leader of men. For him, because he's awesome on and off the field. I do think that there are so many examples of guys that got fired recently that we would look at and say, like, you got to lead in a different. Mike McDaniel is an amazing tactician. Did he feel like a leader of a 53-man roster? Probably not, which is why it's really smart for him to go with Harbaugh with the Chargers to kind of learn how to do that kind of stuff. I'm going to stash that information you said, because if at any point during the season we feel like something's off with the Ravens, I wonder about that, because that almost feels like cover as much as anything else. Like, are you telling us Minter is not a leader of men, or is just a brilliant tactician?
Well, let me say this. I think that certain situations you need to have strong leadership in your organization, whether that's player-led or coaches-led. And in Miami, it doesn't seem like they had neither. In Baltimore, that's never been a problem.
No.
Player leadership in that locker room has never been an issue.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you're the Ravens, if you're looking at it from Van Noy's purview, it makes perfect sense.
Right.
They don't need a leader of men type coach. They have the infrastructure within that organization where you're going to have strong leadership. Eric DeCosta and Steve Bisciotti ain't bringing in but certain types of guys into that franchise to play for them. So, yeah, I think for the Baltimore Ravens, this is the right direction to go. And as you mentioned before, they missed out on Mike Macdonald as their head coach. And this was the next best thing, the opportunity to go out there and hire somebody that they had some familiarity with, somebody that had a pre-existing relationship with Lamar, and somebody that they know can do the job in terms of addressing the biggest glaring need from an on-field perspective with this team, which is the defense.
Yep.
So I love it. I think this is a home run hire for the Baltimore Ravens. Now it's about making sure that you nail the offensive coordinator hire, because that's the person that's going to be in the trenches with Lamar Jackson every single day, putting together game plans in order to accentuate what he does best. Now, they had Joe Brady in for a head coaching interview. He's on the short list of people that they would like to be the offensive coordinator. Pending him not getting a head coaching opportunity this hiring cycle. Also a name that's been floated out there, Cliff Kingsbury. So we'll see where they end up landing with that. But, I mean, listen, I like the direction that the Baltimore Ravens are going. I mean, after the insurrection on Jan 6 with people storming the castle and getting John Harbaugh out, they finally landed on somebody that can stabilize the franchise.
Okay, Smalls, you were laughing not at that last thing, but when he said Cliff Kingsbury, you started laughing. Not at Kingsbury, but
because of
me.
your reaction. Because I know you're not in favor of that.
Well, I'm okay with Cliff Kingsbury as an offensive coordinator. I see no understanding as to how anyone could interview him as a head coach. I see no proof of concept with him as a head coach. As an offensive coordinator, if this is where it's tricky. How much power do you want to give any player? But if Lamar Jackson says to me, that guy, I saw what he did with Jaden an hour away 2 years ago, I want to run that exact same way, have him come here, I'll make that hire. Like, I can do – you're not going to hire the head coach if you're a player. But if you want the coordinator, I can give you the coordinator as long as it fits within the head coach, right? And as long as there's not trying to be some sort of power play in terms of overthrowing the head coach. But if Kingsbury's going to be the offensive coordinator, I can live with that. Here's what I will tell you. They have first-round picks on the offensive line. They have a two-time MVP. They have a Hall of Fame running back. And they have first-rounders at wide receiver. Someone has to come in there and make them the best offense in the NFL. Someone does. Someone has to come in there and actually change the identity of the Ravens, where it's not just we're assuming, and I know they were bad on defense this year, but we assume defense, toughness, nasty, cool, check, get great on defense. Also make this the single best offense in the NFL without a doubt. There's no justification for it not to be. And someone needs to do that. They need to get the job done. All right, coming up. AFC Championship game this weekend. The main theme so far, I'm sorry, what did he say? You'll find out next after CC has this from Granger. Should I just come over?
Yeah, sure.
You really I need to be alone watching the Patriots game. So maybe
that was the least convincing yeah sure I've ever heard in my life.
Put a poll up, Rob. Does CC want to come to his house for football?
Here's why it wasn't convincing, Pat, and there's a perfectly good explanation. I don't really have any say about who comes over while we're nesting with baby Canty.
Yes.
I have zero decision-making power. I can't veto anything. I can't pass any legislation. I am basically at the mercy of my wife in all of the decisions that she wants to make regarding our son Odile. So when I gave the yeah, sure, Ev, you can come over, it was half-hearted because I might have made a promise that I can't keep, knowing that Mel will probably say hell no.
Here's a perfunctory politeness.
Yes.
Canty, could you convince her? Can you convince her to be like, hey, Evan's going to be in the city. Like, you go with it if I leave for a couple hours to go hang out with him and watch the game so we can do some show prep?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
I would actually feel guilty if that even happened.
Here's the problem with doing that, Nuno. I am the designated diaper changer. So when we don't have one of the nurses helping out with the Bambino, I'm the guy that changes the diaper.
Oh, it's you.
Because I can't produce any breast milk.
Right.
When it's time to eat, my son's not interested in me.
No, you're doing your job.
Yeah, exactly. So what do? I get cleanup on aisle 4. That's what I got.
Oh, I thought it was aisle 2.
Yeah, sure.
Smalls, I like it.
Exactly.